Good afternoon, everybody. I am not very used to speaking every day, so probably excuse all my mistakes. I'm just a parent, just trying to. So I am just here to present my point of view when Monila asked. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, Monila. The role of, first I would like to talk about a little bit how we feel, what a role of the school in a child's life is. It's just not for academics. The child goes to a school to learn life skills, dealing with future life. They're being prepared for life, basically, and they are spending 8 hours in school. So the school, has to take more responsibility just than academics and discipline. So a lot of things a school can make or break a child. And we have all learned a lot from our schools, whether it was good memories, bad memories. We have, all our memories are still there. All of you, I'm sure, remember your school. I'm sure schools face a lot of problems with children. With all children, I think they will be facing problems of discipline, problems as child is not doing well in school, not doing perfect in school or doing bad in studies. A child is bullying somebody. All these are general problems. I'm sure, Roshan sir, you will agree these you face. And with, again, problems are much more with adolescents. They rebel. And there are, a lot of things going on. Their problems is another whole set of problems. Like some students at a teenager's, adolescent age will be in substance abuse. Some will be in relationships, love relationships, infatuations, and, crushes, what they call, my daughter calls crushes. So again, that's normal, but those are problems for school. So my expectation from school as a parent first would be sensitivity. When a child is behaving out, something that the schools don't like, even I think you will agree that according to the behavior therapist, a bad behavior is an expression of something deeper. There's a cause to a behavior. So once you can eliminate that root cause of the behavior, probably the behavior will change, because it is not the behavior that is the problem, it is the cause of the behavior which is more important. For example, think of, we all saw that movie Tare Zameen Par, and we knew that the child was being scolded and punished in school, but the cause of his naughtiness was his problem with learning. So it was a different cause. When that cause, the root was, taken care of, it was, then the child became a very new child. So first thing would be sensitivity is very, very important. With adolescents, there is a lot of problems comes because of hormones, and it's a changing time. It's not easy. They also don't know, sometimes they're very angry, sometimes they feel like crying, sometimes they're very happy, and they don't know why. So they are also very confused. Then they have another stress. They are in higher classes. They have studies to do. Their parents and their school expects very good results from them. Then they are in several competitions, this debate, this mock UN. All of those stress does build up for all the children. Plus also every generation has a generation gap. So and now at this present, I feel the generation gap between me and my daughter is much more than what was from my mother and me. So there has been a big shift after the economy opened up. A lot of cultural differences have happened in India. So, and the, the child always, even when I was young at a teenage, I felt nobody understands me. They just don't get it. Nobody gets me. So that sort of feeling always is there with the children. So as a parent from school, I don't want if I have a child who's not, having a behavior problem, I don't want a band-aid solution where the child is scolded, suspended. That does not solve anything. What I would expect from schools is guidance and encouragement. Because I'm sure every child, however naughty, bad, whatever, has some good things in them. They're after all children. And also I would like them to have a sympathetic ear. I mean, that applies for both home and school. Roshan sir already mentioned that. And I'll just give you an example, what I learned from life. When my daughter was 4 years old, she went to a birthday party, and I was with her, and she didn't win some game, and on the way back, she was crying very badly. So I had taken a lot of trouble to take her to the party. It was far, I had to go buy a present, take her there, sit through that. And first I tried to tell her, okay, you'll do better next time, don't worry. And then at one point I said, if you're going to have such a bad time, next time don't come to a party. And she told me, she was just 4, she said, I am sad, I need to cry. So that was a very big lesson for me, that they need to express themselves. We don't need to teach them at that time. We do not need to, scold them at that time. We just need to hear out and just lend a shoulder for them to cry on. And then, we can come up with strategies of what is troubling them, how to tell them how to cope with the coping strategies. But first, we need to listen to them. I mean, they need to cry if they are sad. One very important thing is dialogue and counseling. And I think every child, however upset they are at one point, will listen to reason. As Roshan sir already said, he said a lot of things I was thinking of saying, that once we explain to a child, at one point they do understand that why they cannot do what they are supposed to do. What is the decorum here, and why the decorum, why the rule was made such. So it has a reason. I mean, rules are not just, and some of them are, but rules are not just made because somebody wants to make rules. I mean, there's always a reason. And I also would like the school to have professional counseling. At least if the school doesn't have a counselor, at least refer the child to the parents, for the parents to, go, please take your child to a counselor, because we cannot handle the child anymore. I mean, at one point we have to accept teachers cannot do everything. They are not professional counselors, principals are not professional counselors, neither are parents professional counselors. As for parents' responsibility, I would think it is about the same as the school. We need to be very sensitive to our children. And the things are changing, the world has changed. I mean, my father's father, the way he disciplined my father, if my father disciplined me in that way, probably I would be very upset. So for my child, I also have to change my discipline. And again, for parents, I feel we have to give them the time. We have to give them our presence, and rather than giving them presents of mobile and iPad and all the gadgets. So we need to really make some time. I know a lot of parents are working, but still that time has to be given every day. I mean, even when they're young. Because at 13, if you suddenly want to become their friends and there's a behavior problem, it's not going to work. Then, the bond has been lost. So that communication has to be kept on since they're young. You have to make a time to listen to them every day. I was a working parent once, I've left my job, but even then I would sit with her for an hour and just talk shop. I mean, doesn't have to be school, doesn't have to, just talk, share your own experiences, things like that. Even in case of a rebellion and indiscipline, dialogue, and dialogue. I mean, you can talk, I believe you can talk through everything. And we have to keep, as Roshan sir again said, we have to keep the communication channel open. I mean, however, whatever has happened, I think you have to listen and talk it out and reason it out. We have to, at a young age, we have to tell them about the consequence of substance abuse, and at appropriate age, we have to teach them about sex, and probably will be done better at school with a counselor, but that information has to come to children. And the world has changed, they need to know. They know, frankly. So, I mean, it's better that they know proper things than hearing from other people. Children are the responsibilities of both, school, society, and parents. We cannot be like islands. I mean, as parents, I cannot say I pay the fees, so the responsibility is on the school. And the school cannot say when the child goes back home, it's our responsibilities are over, we just teach the academics. We are here to make them into doctors, engineers, and accountants. And so the parent-school partnership is very, very important, and both have to be reasonable. And both really have to be reasonable, and there should be a platform where we both can talk. I mean, just like Shinsa said, it's not always the parents' fault. I mean, when I had my child, she didn't come with a handbook that I could look up, that I need to do that. Parents also, as parents, we don't know sometimes, and sometimes we would like to get an advice from people who are handling, the teachers, the principal, who are handling children from ages. After all, I'm just looking at my child, and they are looking at hundreds of children over the years. But again, from my perspective, I would know my child more, a little bit more, than a teacher who's just seeing her with 40 children in the, in a subject class for an hour. So both perspectives have to come in. So parent-school partnership is very, very important, and if we have that together, it will help. Also for both parents and schools, all children are not same. I mean, they will not be Einsteins, Beethovens, Sachin Tendulkar, all, packed together, which we want to make them. It's just not going to happen. So we have to accept them, that how they are. A random act of kindness, that is very, very important. Children need kindness. It has to be there, both from the teacher's side and from the parent's side. For personal experience, when I was a student, and once in class, I was imitating a teacher because I was terribly bored with what she was teaching. The teacher continued teaching. She didn't tell me anything. Later, she called me and said, not in a threatening way, that it's not that I did not see you not imitating me, but I wanted to know why you were doing that. I mean, why would you do that? And then I had to tell her, ma'am, what you were teaching was so boring, so I thought I'll entertain some. I was bold enough to tell her. And she was nice enough to say that, yes, I understand now. I mean, that part of the course is very boring, but I will try to do better. But also for you, when a teacher is teaching, you should give her the respect. If she would have scolded me, I wouldn't have realized, after that I was sort of never did something like that in class. I was ashamed that she was being so nice while I was expected. So act of kindness can change a person's life, a child's life, because they are looking for that. And children will make mistakes. They are children. I mean, we all make mistakes and we learn from it. So we have to accept that children will make mistakes. We have to try to do the best for them, but ultimately it is their life. So they will have to take some decisions when they're teenagers, they're quite big enough, they're doing their 10th grade. Some decisions they will have to, and we have to tell them that this is your decision and these are the consequences. If the child says that that consequence is okay with me, I want to that is fine, that is a life I want to lead. At one point, we have to accept the children as they are. That is very important because, I mean, everybody won't be the top of everything. Even for schools, even if that means, you know, one child or two or three children did not do the greatest results from that school, that person needs to be accepted. That is all I had to say. Thank you.